All right, so this is part one of the cracking video that we're gonna do. This is one that I've been wanting to crack and resub with that $15 1980 special that PSA's got going on. I've wanted to send this one in. So this one, again, qualified on 9. Centering, edges and corners are amazing. It's got like kind of a little bit of a corner issue on the back, but this is a card that I would have been pretty confident would have been a 9 if I'd sent it in. You know, usually when I send this in, I would consider this to have had a very, very good shot at a 9. So this is one I want to crack and resub, but we're gonna do a little bit, seeing what happened to Larry Bird last time. We're going to do a little bit more on some like the other ways of cracking slabs, not the quicker method that I did just there last time. If you saw that Larry Bird one, go watch it. If you haven't, I actually damaged the Larry Bird card, and you should learn from my mistakes. You should also learn from each other's mistakes, but especially that one, because if you have a high value card that was only like a $30 card, I'm not going to cry about it. But if you have something very high value, you need to be splitting these slabs if you're planning on if you're planning on cracking and resubmitting, you need to make sure that you are not damaging the card when you're taking it out or when you're cracking the slab. So we're going to do a little bit of part 1, diving into some different ways of removing cards from slabs, and then 2, we'll go into, you know, this was probably, I'm sure there was something on the surface or it was undergraded. So we're going to be talking a little bit about both of those. So we can just, I'll get started. We're gonna crack this using kind of like the legacy method, and then doing a little something else we've seen someone do where they crack here and then crack here. They split the top open with, this is not the best screwdriver to do it with, but you kind of split the top open and then you remove the card, you pull it up and remove the card. So the benefit of that is you're not actually cracking any of the plastic that's over the surface of this card, because I think what happened with the Larry Bird one is when I pulled that thing up to crack the slab, you know, after you break the plastic, even though you can't really see it with your naked eye because it happens so fast, it's going to snap back into place and rebound. And I think it probably snapped back a little forward with all that energy and damaged the card. That's my guess of what happened. I'm not positive. I did not have a, you know, super high speed high resolution camera when I was doing it, but that's my suspicion. So anyway, let's get to cracking this thing. We'll start with that kind of legacy way of splitting here and splitting here, and most people then try to split down the side and crack the slab. But I'm not going to crack the slab because of my suspicion that that was actually potentially damaging the card and damaged the Larry Bird. So what we're going to try to do is this other one where they're cracking here and cracking here, splitting the top, and then holding up without cracking the slab, and then removing it with your other hand. So let's give this a shot. And yeah, as always, it's in, you know, a sleeve, a team bag. So there's a lot of, I have eyeglasses on, guys. Like, I'm not, you know, I'm taking some precautions because you can really mess your eyes up doing this. Be very careful. This is shards will go everywhere if you're not careful, and you have to protect your eyes especially. So we still got the tag down there from Bird. We just did that one a few minutes ago. So this is not the best screwdriver to be doing this with. So you know, I like the way some other people have it when it's more of like kind of like a nub that you can get in there. But this is basically what you're doing. You're sticking it in and you're just rotating like this to kind of get that. You're trying to break this seam that like runs underneath. So there's like a seam under here where it connects, and you're trying to crack. It's starting to crack. You can probably see it. It's not all the way cracked, but you're starting to crack that so you can lift it. So that's what we're going to try to do with this one. Be careful again, because you know you can, these are metal objects, guys. You can definitely, you know, mess up your fingers if you're not careful. So be careful when you do this, guys. This is not the best screwdriver for it, so I would suggest getting a better one. But we'll speed up this part of the video if I have to. Don't worry. Let's see. We gotta take our time. I don't want to hack up my hand. Here, we'll just keep going in through this side. So we had good nice thing going there. what we wanted. Okay, so we want to get it. So see how you can lift this without cracking the entire slab. I've seen people reach in and get the card out from here. So that's what we're gonna try to do. But this is actually the first time I'm doing it. So we're gonna learn together a little bit. Let's see. Go. Oh, that's nice. It actually cracked all the way down. On the sides. There we go. Have the bread hole now. Got it out. So that is part one. Let's take a look at this card. I'm gonna take a quick break, clean a little bit of this off, and I'll be right back. All right, guys, back at it. We cleaned that off a little bit, so I think we're ready now. Just be careful because, you know, one, you don't want to get shards in your fingers, and then two, obviously things that are sharp can scratch your cards. So, you know, always clean off a little bit before you start using that surface of the mat again. But yeah, this is the 88 Bread Hole rookie. Gorgeous card, man. He's in the Blues uniform, even though he started his career in Calgary. You know, he got moved out in what a lot of people consider to be a horrible trade for one of the greatest goal scorers of all time. But here he is in his St. Louis Blues uniform. So this one, gorgeous card. I mean, I think the three main ones before you get to surface, the other three grading criteria. The centering, just measured it again. It qualifies as a 10 centering. Actually, left to right is almost, it's a little under 50-50. This one, top to bottom, is a little bit more off. Like you might be able to see with the naked eye. It's about 55-45, but it does qualify for 10 centering. So beautifully centered card. The edges are amazing on this one. I've seen much worse edges on 10s. It's got the tiniest little bit of like brown, like under cardboard exposed, but I don't even know if you'll be able to see it on here. They're gorgeous edges. And same with the corners. They show almost no damage on here. So I've seen far worse corners than this in PSA 10 slabs, cards that I've submitted before from this era. So I don't think that any of those three were the problem and why I got an 8. If you ask me, this card is undergraded. But again, you know, we always gotta, surface is the hardest one to get a real feel for, and we're gonna look at a little bit of surface here and kind of talk about what we see. So I've got a lamp to my left, and we're gonna, you know, illuminate a little bit so you can get that, you know, I don't know, diffracted light. I don't know what we call it, diffuse light. I don't really know what the term would be for this, but you want, like, you know, to spread the light out, and you're looking for, you know, I'm sure people have told you this before, differences in how the lighting reflects off the card surface onto you so you can see those. Whenever I do this, I like to actually feel the card first, because sometimes it can be hard to pick up on some of these things, but when you feel it, you can start to, you can feel sometimes, I just felt one right here. It's like slight little depressions or bumps. It's like right around here. Let's see if anything comes up. I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to see it on camera, but I mean, it's the slightest thing. I don't think that would do a whole lot. I mean, my target for this card is a 9. I'm gonna send it back in anyway because the 8 is a fine grade as well, but my target on this one is really to get a 9. I think it'll 9. I think it's got an outside shot at a 10. Well, we'll look at the surface. The other three, the three are easy to get a read on, are, you know, centering, edges, corners. I think they're you know, very good 10 candidates, but the center of the surface here is really what we're talking about. So, or that's what we're trying to investigate. So I'll say this: the feeling, it did not come up with much. Sometimes, you know, when you do that, you feel impressions, or, you know, these other things that are kind of like blisters on the card really quickly, and you're like, all right, here they are. You know, any major damage. These ones, so what I've been able to detect on this, it might be tough for you guys to see it, but I'll try to point out as best I can. So you're kind of looking for, like, you know, spots. Again, what you're looking for, let's say this, you're looking for things like depressions, impressions, blistering, stuff like that, and the way to see it is when the light reflects differently off the surface. So it's going to be tough to see this for you guys on the, you know, through the camera, but that's the best we got, so we're going to go for it. You can start to see some things. So the first one that I can see is this, like, little bit of, like, different diffraction out here on his hair. I don't know if you'll be able to see this. I think you might be able to see it. Like, it's right above my fingernail. looks like a little bit of like a line coming down through there. I don't think that's a big deal. I don't really know how the graders think of these. I tend to know what they think of, like, you know, cards that would be these types of like blistering stuff or indentation that will make a 7 and an 8, but I haven't seen something that's like that looks like this, because it's not an impression or a depression. It's almost just like something with the card stock is different. There's no depth change in the card, and that's like a really big deal when you talk about the level of surface imperfection slash damage that they would call it. So I don't think that's really a big deal. I'm looking for some other stuff. There's a little bit of, you know, circling going on right here below his chin. So I don't know if you guys will be able to see this. Those are gonna be really tough to see, but it's like right on his jawline right there, like where my finger is. You might be able to see it like that. It looks like a tiny little dimple, but again, you can't even feel it. So I don't think that they would grade this too harshly. I think that this is a 9 card. But, you know, getting really into surface on some of these like 70s and 80s cards is something I'm still learning as I go. So if any of you guys got takes on this, please put it in the comments, because, you know, surface really seems to be grading wise where you separate the men from the boys, because everybody can look at these cards in like a second and a half and be like, okay, yeah, edges check out, corners check out, centering checks out, but surface just takes a lot more investigation, and it's much harder to get feedback on because you cannot see this level of detail through a slab, because when you're looking at it through the plastic, the light reflects differently, and you can see some bigger things. You can usually, I won't say usually, but you can sometimes see, you know, blistering or indentation that would lead to a card being a 7 or an 8. I'm not seeing that kind of stuff on this card. I don't think it'll be a 10 just because of some like surface imperfections in the back, some like print marks like this one right here. I don't think it's gonna get a 10 because of that. It could, you never know, but I think this card is a 9. I'm seeing still slight things here and there, just like where, you know, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but where like the surface has like, you know, changes on it in the gradient as you look across the card, but it's really a nice surface. So I don't know exactly why this got an 8. Subjectivity plays a huge role in this, and I don't want to just say, oh, every grader had a bad day or whatever, or they saw a few 8s before this and just didn't want to give them a 9. I don't know, but, you know, if we get it back, I can pretty confidently say it was not any of. I can very confidently say it was not any of corners or edges or centering, especially centering. I just measured it, but, you know, this surface looks really good as well. I've seen things that like the kind of surface indentations and blistering that can give it an 8, and this just doesn't really have any of that present. So I'm gonna resubmit this. I think we got a good shot at a 9. I hope it is. And yeah, so that's the video for today. I hope you guys learned something. I'll let you guys know how this one went, and yeah, like and subscribe if you had fun, and stay tuned for more. We'll all learn together. Peace, y'all.